What's up, guys? Welcome to BitCast episode 44 for the week of November 12th, 2017. I'm your host, Jake Martin. In the studio this week, we have, once again, Cameron Betts. Cameron,
how's it going, guys?
thank you so much for being here.
Oh, you're welcome.
We have our teas. We have not teas. We have our wine today. I've already had one and a half.
Some very, very dark grapefruit tea.
I've had, I've already had a lot of this juice here. So we're feeling good.
We're definitely juiced up.
And by that I mean this is my first class. So, anyways, welcome to BitCast. For those of you returning, thanks again for tuning in. We're going to be talking about a lot of stuff this week, mainly Call of Duty World War II. And before we jump into anything, Cameron, happy belated Veterans Day, man.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for your service. Seriously, I forgot to text you, so I apologize.
That's okay.
Bad friend. But yeah, I thought about it because it was actually observed Friday.
Yeah.
And then the actual day was Saturday.
Right. Federal holiday. So it's all the TVA people, like not us, got off Friday. So that's okay, though. It's okay.
Just serving your country in other ways, I guess.
Yeah, no. The best part was I went and did that stupid little 5K marathon thing. Now I don't have to go to drill until January. So,
dude, congrats.
Main by 24 all day long.
You have a little, something right there. I'm gonna get it for you. This is what friendship looks like. So, anyways, we are back today. Like I said, to talk about Call of Duty. But first, a few housekeeping notes. If you are listening to the show, be sure to leave us a review or just check in on Facebook to talk to us there. I've created a group, so anybody that is a fan of the show can check us there. But also, be sure to write reviews on iTunes, or if you want to, even go to our YouTube channel where this podcast is in video format. If you are a listener and you did not know that, now you do. So, you're welcome. But before we jump into the main news segment, Cameron, what are you playing right now?
Still, I know this is going to be an ongoing joke, but SimCity Build It.
Wow.
Still a daily occurrence for me.
Kind of sick of having you on the show now.
I don't blame you. But yeah, no, it's definitely still a daily occurrence for me. You know, whenever you have sorry about that, little like chest and everything, you can get it. Like your dailies, like just on freaking Destiny, you go back every week, get all your collectibles, your chest, and all that good stuff.
They've got you hooked, man.
They've got me hooked. I don't play it as much now, but definitely something whenever I'm bored at the office, I'm definitely on SimCity Build It.
Well, I gotta check on my city real quick, just make sure we're doing okay over here.
Yeah, and then of course Destiny still.
So good, man.
We'll be stuck on that for a while. I think that the timing of oh my gosh, Curse of Osiris, is that what it is?
Mm-hmm. December 5th.
The time of that will be good. That'll really lead well into players picking up right as it starts to kind of get slow.
You're like, okay, I'm done. I think I got all the guns that I want,
and then that'll come along. So that'll be a nice hit. But yeah, no, Destiny's great. Continues to be a lot of fun. I think we underestimated it a little bit.
We really did, and I'm writing a piece about this, about Destiny 2 and how it's totally changed my perspective on this type of game. And I really do think, and I've talked about it in the show before, but a lot of this has to do with having a consistent community or group of people to play the game with.
Yes.
It's awesome.
Absolutely. I mean, we have a text group going.
Yeah, we have a text
group.
group.
Our own fire teams, fire teams.
And it's not too much to where like we're always having to hop on. It's like literally we'll do like maybe 1 or 2 days a week, and that's it. And it's the play sessions aren't that long either. It's like we'll hop on for like 2 or 3 hours and we're done.
Yeah, and it's not everybody every single time.
Yeah, not everyone can make it, and we're
not
fine.
A huge commitment, yeah.
But it's great, yeah. And luckily we all know each other pretty well, so that makes it a little bit easier. However, for me, same thing. Destiny 2. I have been playing Mario Odyssey, but I've slowed down a little bit because I've gotten a little bit tuckered out.
Yeah.
There's 999 moons or stars in this game. So I'm at 670 right now, and I got pretty... When I was unemployed, I was playing a ton of that game, and I think I almost ruined the game for myself because I was playing so much.
Man.
So, sorry, I'm just checking the audio levels real quick to make sure we're good.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure that I was not overplaying it and ruining it for myself. So I'm giving it some time to breathe, playing some Destiny 2 to kind of just reset everything. And honestly, there's not a lot of games coming out beyond.
We've got a few months
beyond Battlefront 2 that I might look into, and I'm not really. We'll talk about it in the news segment. I'm not too convinced about it.
Yeah. Well, Call of Duty World War II is the other one I should have thrown in there, but obviously we're going to discuss that in the podcast.
Yeah. So we'll jump over to the news segment right now. Be back soon. I'm still working on that. I'm trying to make sure I really get that thing built down.
Yeah.
So
You need to work on it quite a bit.
I thought it was pretty good.
It's sort of creepy.
And we're back.
Yeah, that's not what.
Yeah.
If I was driving down the road and that came over I'd pull my car over and search.
Well, there's like a little bit of a warning that the music gets quieter. And it's like, and we're back. You're welcome. You got to hear it like 6 times in one show.
Oh God.
So I wanted to start off this segment with not fun news because it's better to get this stuff out first, and then
I think it's important. You're in the you're in the entertainment business.
Yeah.
Now,
so this is and this is all entertainment business that we're hearing this about. So if you have been living under a rock recently, there has been a ton of news coming out about sexual harassment and different lawsuits against different individuals. And I'm going to name off a few here that are very, very well-known people, but Louis C.K., Kevin Spacey, some IGN staff editors, so that's directly kind of...
That I want to hear more about because I didn't know. Continue.
Okay. Weinstein Company, so they make a ton of movies also. And then Andrew Kreisberg, who's in charge of like making Arrow and Supergirl and a bunch of these like TV series.
I think I heard that, yeah.
Not a fun topic, and I wanted to bring this up just because I really think that it sucks. Like, this is all horrible news to find out. It's ruined a lot of people's lives, ruined a lot of people's careers, and I'm not talking about just the people that are being accused of this stuff, but also people that are having to deal with it. And
the accusers as well.
Yeah, it's just awful.
You're putting yourself out there pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, you're putting yourself on the plate, and you're going to go down, or they're going to.
Yeah, they're going to believe
crazy,
you, and
yeah.
a lot. And so that's what I wanted to talk about just for a second, because I've noticed, the IGN one, I'll talk about this and explain. So Callie Plagge was a IGN editor last year, 2016, and she left, I believe, later in the year in 2016.
Okay.
But essentially, one of the editors there, Vince Ingenito, who was a guy that was on the podcast for a while, he apparently had made some sexual advances. It wasn't as extreme as some of these things, but nonetheless, he was like saying a lot of like inappropriate stuff that made her feel very uncomfortable. But what made it worse was not that. Well, what made it worse is that IGN didn't handle it very well. They basically said that she was also in the wrong and like acted inappropriately and all this kind of stuff to warrant this kind of behavior, and just dismissed it, which is unfortunately the story of a lot of these scenarios.
Right.
So all of this to say, I'm just super glad that this stuff's coming to light. And obviously I don't have any experience with this kind of stuff. However, I don't take it lightly, and I don't think it's anything that we can joke about, but I think it's really great that it's coming to light and people are talking about this stuff.
Right. At first, I thought it might be just a little bit of a witch hunt, but the more it comes out, the more I see it's very apparent that this needs to be, openly discussed as terrible as a subject. I mean, we're talking about it right now, and you were like, "This is serious, sad news," and it is. But we need to be talking about it. This needs to be on the forefront of people's minds that these guys have a lot of power and a lot of influence over the country.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these are the guys in Hollywood that are making what we watch every day. Mm-hmm. So therefore, we can't let that be the forefront of our society.
Yeah, and don't let that kind of bias also affect your judgment on somebody. Like, if just because somebody is a funny person or a well-liked individual doesn't mean that they don't deserve to be also called out on this kind of crap, because it's horrible.
Yeah.
So
Kevin Spacey is apparently in rehab for this.
Yeah. This all really, I think, I mean, we've seen a lot of this starting to come out just with like Bill Cosby and a bunch of all this kind of stuff, but really, I think we saw a lot here just this week with initially Kevin Spacey. Kevin was talking about this stuff. Well, actually, it was like Weinstein Bros, and then it was Kevin Spacey, and his whole ordeal was just he handled it so horribly and did so many things wrong. Thankfully, that people could. Yeah, I think really like just him trying to speak up and defend himself made other people so mad. They're like, oh my gosh, like no, like there's nothing that justifies this, blah blah blah. And then like everyone else started coming out like saying like, yes, I've been a victim, and this is what's going on. And so far, everyone that's been kind of called out, it doesn't seem like there's been, as a male, part of like the worry of this is just like, okay, well,
It could be anything.
Yeah, we don't know what this could be, but
Yeah.
like every single one of these cases has been true,
Right.
which is
well,
really good.
I mean, Louis C.K. admitted to it.
Yeah, and so like,
Which, hey, you know what?
yeah,
That takes a little bit of guts, but I mean, I guess if you're gonna try to salvage yourself as much as possible,
don't lie
own
about
up
this
to it,
stuff.
yeah.
Like, yeah, just like I mean, it's crazy. So if you see the stuff going on, report it, talk about it, because it's clearly, it's something that's so much more prevalent than we ever thought
Yeah.
it would be. So,
And these guys doing it all these years made it okay in our normal society and in the workplace. I mean,
especially in Hollywood, it's a lot more, like these like entertainment areas, like
Mhm.
it's just the thing that people don't talk about because
Crazy.
they want to lose their in with, the big guys.
Right.
But yeah, so just wanted to start that off, just talk about that, and totally glad that it's happening. People are getting called out, but also sad that this kind of stuff happens. So, on to a very exciting note, however. Amazon has announced that Lord of the Rings prequel series is coming to their channels, which I am super pumped about.
we'll see.
So I have a
don't
little,
know.
excerpt here that I'll read off, and I'll let you kind of
Okay.
extrapolate as I read. The new series will explore Middle Earth in a time period before the events of Lord of the Rings. Amazon could plumb the depth. Lord of the Rings. Amazon could plumb the depths of the appendices of the Return of the King, potentially detailing the early romance of Aragorn and Arwen, the creation of the Rings of Power, and the history of the line of kings from which Aragorn is descended. Or in what would be more of a revelation for the Tolkien fans, and provided that Amazon had also purchased the television rights to the authors, you know what this is?
Silmarillion.
Silmarillion. The series might have the entire history of Middle Earth from its creation to play with. Amazon's press release does note that the deal with the Tolkien estate includes a potential additional spin-off series.
Have you ever read the Silmarillion before?
No.
Talk about a hard book to read. I mean, it is. J.R.R. Tolkien wrote that in old style English, and it is very hard to read. Nick Luttrell would be someone to talk about that too.
I'll ask him what he thinks
Because
about
he's
it.
read it, and he tried to describe it to me one time, and I've got the book and I've tried to read it, but
You're like, I like Lord of the Rings. Maybe I'll like this. And you're like, no, this is not at all what I thought it
so
was going to
if
be.
they could do that, great. But that would be very, very pre Lord of the, like, to the point where it's not in the same realm almost. I mean, this is. If I'm correct, I could be wrong. I think it's where pretty much where Saruman came from. Like, it's kind of like where he was a prevalent, like, still not a terrible person kind of thing.
No, it'd be so dope.
But I mean, it would be good, but you'd be going really far back. I think that the first option would be a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, talking about Aragorn.
Right.
Aragorn. Now, sorry. So for me, I'm trying to think of the business side of this. So Amazon really hasn't been in like the forefront of streaming services. It's kind of been Netflix, HBO Go,
Right.
and Hulu, sort of.
They're building up their repertoire though. I mean, they've got some good shows out there.
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos has got the money to do pretty much whatever he wants to. So
Yeah, Netflix kind of gets everything. HBO Go gets all like the really good movies, and they really, honestly, if I'm looking at, I don't know, we have Stranger Things 2, which is pretty dope. But
overall shows, I would say HBO's got it.
Yeah, I would say from a quality standpoint, you have HBO Go, and then Netflix from just like everything standpoint, and then Hulu gets everything that's TV related for the most part. Like if you want to watch TV shows, usually Hulu's a good place to go for that. And then you have Amazon, kind of just in the back here, like we dabble in this, and it's really just, I mean, the benefit of Amazon is that it just comes with your Amazon Prime
Right.
membership. So it's like if you already have Amazon, it's awesome. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, cool, I get free TV shows and movies and all kinds of stuff. So
There's a lot of good movies on there too.
yeah, it's like, why would I pay for Netflix? So this is huge because anytime I tried explaining Game of Thrones to people, I was like, oh, I mean, do you like Lord of the Rings?
It's kind of like Lord of the Rings.
Do you like Lord of the Rings? And they're like, oh, yeah. And I'm like, well, it's just basically that, but I think a little more adult and awesome. And so this is a huge get for them because I think this is going to obviously draw on that crowd that's wanting Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe they're even just wanting more Lord of the Rings and didn't really get it. And so they're
Right.
like, well, Game of Thrones is a good substitute for this stuff. And so
Right.
if they can produce a really well-made series off of this, I've seen some spin-offs of this, like with like Vikings and a bunch of other similar shows that are kind of like trying to take that Middle Earth kind of like, Renaissance era stuff and try to make it popular. But I think with this name attached to it,
Mhm.
there could be some good stuff happening.
That and the money, like we'll repeat again, that Amazon has and can put behind it. That's really for me what would bring it home. I know you haven't watched it, and this is going to be this doubles as a recommendation. Man of the High Castle,
Okay.
produced, directed. It was originally a book written by. Oh my God, what is it? Oops.
Man in the High Castle. It sounds very
Man in the
familiar.
High Castle. What is that guy's name? I've got the book at home.
I don't know.
Doesn't matter. Great show. Alternate history for
Watch
World
it.
War II. The Nazis and the Japanese win World War II after nuking Washington and New York. Washington alone. Not ruining the show. Anyways, it's kind of an alternate history, which, if you're into Wolfenstein, things like that, which I'm super into, it was great. And there's 2 seasons of it right now. The second season was better than the first season, and they've just announced season 3. So I have no doubt in my mind that Amazon has the overall capabilities to do this. I just pray they don't screw it up, because Lord of the Rings means so much to me.
Oh, and to millions of other people.
Yeah.
And the only thing I'm concerned about, you just brought it up I just thought about this, is they're so spread out with all the services that they offer. Like they do everything.
Yep.
They offer groceries. They bought Whole Foods.
They're borderlining monopoly right now.
They do all the shipping. They
get
have
into gas.
their
They're
own
going to be
ebook services. They have video. They have music. They have Amazon Web Services, which kicks ass. Like everyone uses Amazon Web Services. Like all these businesses use this stuff. And so, I mean, there's plenty more things I didn't list off, but
Right.
they basically own everything.
Yeah, they're getting to a monopoly point.
And they've executed on a very good level. Like they've done everything very, very well. So I don't doubt that this won't be good.
Right.
But I haven't seen enough of Amazon original stuff to actually appreciate it. I think.
Watch a little bit of it. It's all very good. It's all
What was
well
that
done.
movie with Casey Affleck? That was super sad.
Oh,
Manchester by the Sea.
yeah, Manchester by the Sea.
That was Amazon original. And it won or it got nominated at least.
Right.
So they do good stuff. So I have faith in this, and I'm really excited about it. This just got announced, so this is hot off the press. But next, which is also hot off the press, but for the opposite reasons, EA, they're in trouble, guys. Battlefront 2 is coming out here pretty soon. I think the 17th. Check the
Yeah, you
calendar.
got it
right there.
right. 17th. You got it written up there.
Okay. So we talked about this last time when we played the beta. We weren't too impressed with the beta. We were like, it was good. Felt a lot of the same. However, they've also recently just gotten skewered for having this bad pay-to-win strategy stuff or paywalled stuff. And I think even today I saw some changes that they're going to have to make, which is great. They're listening to their audience. But on Reddit, so EA has become the most downvoted Reddit comment in history, or they have the most downvoted Reddit comment in history, which is a pretty big deal. Now, someone did mention, this is fair, there could be some bots involved in this. Regardless, they are at negative 341,000 votes and counting. And the previous record holder was at 24,000. So that says a lot. And essentially, they were trying to defend their decision to paywall Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker.
Wait, you should explain what you mean by paywall, just in case some people don't get that.
Yeah, so paywall literally just means that you could. It's not necessarily a full-on paywall. A paywall is where something is locked away by only being able to pay for it. There's
With
a wall.
money, real money.
There's a wall there where you can only access certain content by having to pay for it.
Mhm.
Their defense was you can unlock these characters through playing and achieving things in game, but that would also account to multiple hours of gameplay to be able to actually get Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker, which are very prominent characters that everyone wants to play as.
Yes.
And so there was
kind of the center point of the series.
kind of the two most well-known characters, and so maybe Yoda, but regardless, people were super pissed and super salty about this. And so, yeah, they just recently got the most downvoted Reddit comment in history and have since then kind of curtailed back a little bit and changed some of their pricing options and said okay, well, we'll do this. And so they're listening, but I'm still worried.
Yeah.
Because it seems like a lot. I don't know. We were talking about this a second ago, but I feel bad for businesses because these games are so expensive,
Well, it's not that. It's that they should put the thought into it. And if we need to transition to the point where cost of goods goes up over the years, that's fine. I remember when games were $50. Now they're $60. If they need to be $80 and you can make it worth $80, then do it. Go for it. I mean, at this point, you're gonna buy it. I mean, if you want it bad enough, you're gonna buy it.
Yeah, if you like Star Wars,
Don't screw us over. Just give us what we need, and make your money. Honestly, if that extra $20 will help, which it will because they obviously sell millions of copies, but
yeah,
just go ahead and do it. Get it over with.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. From my standpoint, I can completely understand the business side of this. These guys spend countless years, like hours and years of just working away at this stuff, and I feel bad for all the guys that just sit down and they make a great game. They make an amazing, beautiful, gorgeous game, and then the only reason that their game doesn't or might not sell well is because of stuff like this, where there is DLC or there is paid content that everyone's like, oh, screw this game, I'm not going to play
and
it.
that's out of their control most
Yeah,
likely.
there's nothing they can do.
Right.
And from their standpoint, they're like, we're going to make a really cool Star Wars game. And then from the business guy's standpoint, which is also a fair standpoint, he's like, we got to make money because we just spent $3 billion making this game, and so we need to at least sell this many copies, and on top of that we have to make this much money in paid DLC or paid content. And so it's not easy. Like it's not easy. And so I think we're at a breaking point right now where we're going to have game companies all agree to raise their prices of their games depending on a certain value, and no one knows what it's going to be. That's going to be a hard decision to come to, but it's like inherently you get 100 hours out of this game. What is that worth to you? And so that's where they would like probably have a huge conversation and try to like gauge what it's worth. And some games will be worth less, some will be worth more. And I think that's a great way to go. A game like The Witcher that promises 100 hours of gameplay is probably worth more than $60.
Yeah.
A game like Overwatch that has high replay value but doesn't really offer much else beyond just the multiplayer aspect, probably worth a little bit less than $60.
Yeah.
And there's a ton of in-game loot box stuff there too. So I mean, it's just it's a weird place to be, and I feel bad for these guys. However, we will see when this game releases how well it does. But they continue to get bad press, and
they're not doing too hot right now.
I'm a little worried about them.
I don't think that, and this is jumping the gun because we still got a few days, but I don't think that Battlefront 2. I think that Battlefront 2 is going to fall in the same hole as the first one. It's just not going to be as successful.
Mm-hmm. They have a story this time, so that's a pro.
We'll see.
And again, it's fallen before Star Wars comes out, so everyone's like, "Oh, Star Wars! I'm aware of this thing coming out again. I'll probably pick this game up just because I want to, shoot some guys with lasers."
Yeah, they need to go ahead and release Battlefield 5.
Well, and we're not there, and we're not the typical audience either. Right. We're a bit more well read on this kind of stuff. The average gamer is probably not going to give a crap. They just want to play a Star Wars game where they can shoot lasers, and that's fine.
These younger kids, that's probably what they really want the most of, is just they're going to go see The Last Jedi, and then they're going to want to buy Battlefront 2, or vice versa. They're going to
shoot some lasers.
So it's all part of Disney's mass marketing scheme to take over our minds and force us into a Star Wars world.
Star Wars always.
Star Wars always. Amazon and Disney, man, those are the two. They are kings of the castle.
Oh, and Disney has their own streaming service coming out pretty soon.
Yeah, go figure. They're probably going to start delivering packages.
Sucks, man. No, I'm a little bummed about that, but I'm sure it'll be great. So the last news item on our list is a really small one, honestly. I should have talked about this before, but Hulu is now officially on Switch. So that's pretty much it.
If you love Seinfeld like I do, Seinfeld is available on Hulu.
This is a great move. Honestly, the Switch has needed something that basically it's just needed a video app of some sort.
Oh, so it hasn't had any streaming.
Hasn't had anything. So this is a big deal. We got this.
You gotta have. If you're gonna put the money on the gaming console, you have to have some sort of streaming service on it.
And I mean, it's great. It's great for that. Seriously, like you can't take your PlayStation with you. You can't take your Xbox with you. So the fact that a lot of people who may not have multiple smart devices in their house,
iPads
or an iPad, whatever, like this is awesome. It's like, okay, yeah, my kids have the system and they can watch their TV shows, when we're on the go somewhere, and it's great.
For real though.
So
put those little in the back seat and throw on the Switch.
Those little
Yeah. You would have bleeped what I was actually going to say.
Little shitlins. So nonetheless, Hulu's on here. Great job, Nintendo. Keep doing it. But I'm a little worried about the rest of the year because there's not much coming on the console after this. So we'll see. Actually, Rocket League comes out, I think, also on the 17th, which I'm really excited about. So we are going to jump into our main topic of the show, which is Call of Duty World War II. Be right back. And welcome back. That one wasn't as good.
But no, it was less creepy. So
Welcome
thank you.
back. We are going to be talking about Call of Duty World War II, which I have not yet picked up, but Cameron, you have.
Yes, I have. I bought it on Amazon before. Here we go back to Amazon again. Pre-ordered it on Amazon, and whenever I got back from Fort Campbell last weekend, there it was on my bed. Easy as that. Spencer even like unwrapped it a little bit and like took the disc out. You know, just no, he didn't do that. But
I was like, really?
no.
I was like, come on, Spence.
no.
All right, so Call of Duty, in case you weren't aware,
It's a video game.
is a video game where you shoot people, and it's all based around war. Okay? Now, in recent years, it's been really bad, where we've been going to outer space and have robot suits and all kinds of dumb shit that you can do in the game.
Infinity War. What was the last one called?
Infinite Warfare
Infinite
or Modern
Warfare.
Warfare. I don't even know.
Infinite Warfare's story was not that bad. The multiplayer was freaking stupid.
You had Jon Snow as like a guy in there.
Yeah, you did.
From
I
Game of
mean,
Thrones.
he did a really good job. It was a good story. It was a cool story. I thought, at least. It
So-
kind of dropped off at the end. Anyway, sorry.
No, you're good. So Call of Duty, for as much crap as it gets, they have mastered the first-person shooter. From a gameplay standpoint, in their single-player campaigns, they always have one, and sometimes they're good, sometimes they're a little eh. But where they really shine is a multiplayer. They kind of revolutionized it back in the day with Modern Warfare, and have since then always just kind of been at the top in terms of competitive FPS stuff.
That's why
beyond-
they're able to put out a game every year.
Yeah, beyond Counter-Strike, which is like a game that never dies. But people have been getting kind of tired of Call of Duty as a franchise because they have this like futuristic space vibe going on where everyone's like, okay, like this is too much. Like I don't even really care about this. Doesn't make sense. It's not grounded. It doesn't have to. It's a video game. However, I think for Call of Duty, where they really did their best is when it was grounded warfare. It did make sense. The guns were all realistic, and there wasn't like this crazy stuff that you could do, like throw tomahawks across maps and kill somebody, you know. So we're back now. Cameron has the game. Like I said, I don't have it. However, we're going to ask him some questions, get his thoughts on it, and then kind of curtail this into like, you know, what can Call of Duty do next, as well as, you know, is Call of Duty dead? It's probably not. So, Cameron, how first off the bat, how is the single player mode? What's the story?
So the story is, I mean, you know, it's kind of the iconic. You take over Okay, let me back.
We're
up
back
a
in
little
World
bit.
War II.
We're back in World War II. So you're taking on the embodiment of a young soldier who's, you know, all geared up to fight, and it starts out with like all these like war posters. Before you get to the multiplayer, it gives you like these several different. I shouldn't go into multiplayer yet.
You're fine.
kinda
Doesn't
want
matter.
to, though.
It doesn't matter.
But anyways, it gets you like kind of revved up to fight. You know, talking about the Germans attacking. And it's kind of cool. It's done. God, I wouldn't know what the animation style is called. It's almost like
It's not
like, you know, so there's a scene where they're bombing London, but there's too many bombers in the sky that would be realistic
okay.
all at once. You know what I'm talking about? It's like black and white, and it's like almost like an over dramatization of what's going on.
Okay.
So it really kind of builds you up for the story. And of course, it starts with classically the invasion of Normandy.
Classic.
You're
Everyone's
part
favorite
of-
story.
You're part of the 1st Infantry Division, which whether or not they were on Omaha Beach, I don't know. I'd have to go back and check my history books. But yeah, it goes from there. I mean, it leads into the full-scale invasion of Europe
Okay.
in World War II.
So, single player campaign. You haven't finished it, I'm assuming.
I
You're
haven't
still
finished
playing
it.
through
No, honestly, I've invested more time in the multiplayer, so I'll be interested to talk about that. But so far, it's good. The AI is kind of crappy. To
Yeah.
be completely honest with you, there's been a couple of times where I've been like standing in front of them, they just haven't shot at me. The story is intriguing enough, but the gameplay is not over the top. I mean, they really tried hard at Normandy to like give you that same feel that you got whenever you watched Saving Private Ryan and they were rushing the beach and everything. And it just
stuff.
doesn't do that. It's kind of underwhelming, honestly.
Yeah.
And I think that might be the way the story goes, but it might get better. I don't know. My buddy, if you met Forrest,
Yeah.
He played it and he's beaten the campaign. It didn't take him very long to beat it.
Yeah, usually not
But
too
he
long.
said he really enjoyed the campaign more so than the multiplayer. So
I would check into the campaign. I mean, Destiny 2's campaign, kind of the same
as
thing.
a joke.
It's super short. You can get through it maybe like in 3 or 4 hours. But what I appreciate,
if you got Brock Martin on your team,
if you have Brock, if you have my brother on your team, but I appreciate because really, it's not anything that's super comprehensive. You're just like, okay, these guys came and they tried taking over this thing and we killed them all.
Really disappointing because it could have been so cool. But anyways,
yeah. Nonetheless, not this is not about Destiny 2. But most single player shooter or just first FPS shooter campaign stories have always been a little weak with Wolfenstein 2 not being part of that group because I've heard it's very good.
Yeah.
I've heard the new one's like amazing.
I might honestly, if this doesn't get any better, I might trade it in and get Wolfenstein.
Just do it. So, I, like most other people, really didn't care too much about single player campaigns. I think I only beat one of the campaigns in all the Call of Duty games that have come out, and I've almost had all of them because I just jumped into multiplayer. All my friends played, so I was like, I don't want to waste time with that. I'm just gonna jump in. So multiplayer, what's going on here? Like, what are like the big differences? Does it feel like it's gone backwards or like things have gotten better?
So interestingly enough, I think that Call of Duty kind of took a. I'll give Destiny the credit for it. Because they've got kind of the central area system going on where you start out. So like I said earlier, you start out, you can choose from 5 different divisions. It's infantry, airborne, I think it's artillery, it's armor, expeditionary, and then mountain, right? So you choose from one of those 5 specialty groups.
It's kind of like Battlefield.
Yeah, and you can unlock all of
support.
those, but you kind of go with like an initial one. So I chose airborne, and with the airborne, with the paratrooper, you get a light SMG like an actual airborne troop would carry. SMG, Luger pistol, or I think it's a Luger pistol. It looks just like one.
Right.
Simple grenades, all that good stuff. And so you start out from there, and then you of course start playing, progressing on your levels. But anyways, once you choose your class, you go into this central area. Now, you don't have to play the main campaign, but the central area is pretty much the Normandy beachhead, which for those of you who don't know, whenever the Allies invaded, they took over Normandy. They pretty much used, in the first part of the invasion, they used the Normandy beaches like as their headquarters. So that's kind of where you're stationed at.
Okay.
And so you can roam around the headquarters. There's different people to talk to. And just like Destiny, you can go get your weekly assignments. You can go and talk to the vendors.
Okay.
You do all sorts of little things. There's a firing range, all that good stuff.
Oh, so it's like more of like a co-op campaign stuff?
Yeah, I mean, you can your friends can come and they can be in the headquarters. Your entire party can be in the headquarters with you and do whatever they need to. So that's really cool. Did not
know that.
It's pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah, and so that I think that gives it a little bit more of a team cohesive aspect to it.
Yeah.
Just
Call of Duty's always been like you can play by yourself and wreck shop.
Right. So, but with this, your team all meets up and they can do their little emotes and everything. They can dance or whatever, but everyone can do whatever they need to from that central point. And then you can get ready, and you can actually go. It's very fluid how they did it. Between the multiplayer matches, you can actually go back to that beachhead and do whatever you need to as your game's loading. And so it's super fluid. Now, granted, if you're in the middle of something and you get instantly cut off and you have to go in your game, that kind of sucks, but it's still pretty freaking fluid for the way they did it.
Yeah, I mean, they've been doing it long enough to where they know, like, okay, players need at least, a minute in between matches to be able to swap their loadouts and check stuff real quick, and then,
Right. And so within those 5 divisions, obviously infantry is very, as it says, infantry focused. Airborne is kind of light and fast. Mountain is sniper.
Makes sense.
Armor is more of heavy weapons, so light machine guns,
LMGs,
and rocket launchers, which are kind of hilarious. I've had several people try to kill me with rocket launchers, and it's just one of those things. If you miss, it's just kind of funny because it's big and bulky, and it's like, oh, I gotta get this back down, and then
and I'm dead.
So, and then expeditionary is, like the flamethrowers and shotguns and such.
Oh, so kind of more of the fun weapons, or the cool weapons.
Right, but more hindered, in combat. You obviously have like a double
close quarter stuff, yeah.
So, but anyways, you choose from those 5 weapons. As always with Call of Duty, you can put several different attachments on them,
which I always liked. I always liked the customization.
Yeah, and then there's within the weapons themselves, you got like steady aim, all that good stuff. So the perk system has kind of gone away.
Okay, so you don't.
And they've replaced it with the individual weapons characteristics, to where you can have like the steady aim and all that good stuff is kind of based into your weapon. And then with each specialty group, you kind of have With the airborne, I've noticed you get like the faster draw, faster aim down the sights, and all that good stuff.
Interesting.
So it's kind of specialized to that play style more so than you just take the perks and throw them into your character.
Wow. So, okay, so you have like you have character baseline stats
Pretty
that
much, yeah.
help you.
Yep.
So you kind of figure out a class you like to play as. Like,
Yep.
I like to snipe a lot, so I'm just gonna make a mountain class, and like, I'm gonna just focus on this.
And if you really dedicate to that, you can do some serious damage.
Okay. And then the gun stats all have their own things built into them. So it's like this gun specifically, you can, has faster ADS, or it has like a reticle that, blah, blah.
Right. And then going back to like the Modern Warfare styles, the more you play with that gun, the more you unlock for it.
Okay. Okay.
So,
I like that. I do wish that Destiny had something for, I do wish it rewarded you a bit for playing with a specific type of gun, and you unlock stuff as you played with that gun.
Right.
Every time you get a gun, it's exciting getting a weapon, but like once you get it, you have it. You're like, okay, cool, I have a gun.
Right.
And or you forget you have a gun that you actually think is good, and you're like, oh crap, I dismantled that one. Shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So like in terms of like multiplayer stuff though, comparing this to previous games, like does the on ground, foot soldier feel, is that better than what we've kind of had the past couple of years?
I think definitely so. So going back to, and I know we talked about this a little bit, it's kind of the revamp I think that Call of Duty needed for its multiplayer aspect. Going back to the old school, taking away all the crazy jetpack shit, the fucking, like you said, tomahawks across the map, stick grenades, whatever you want to call it. They got rid of all that. They got rid of all that, obviously, because the World War II setting. Sorry, I lost my train
You're
of
good.
thought.
It's
So
better because
going back into the multiplayer itself, I started out playing, just regular team deathmatch to kind of get the feel, because the last time I played was the Modern Warfare remaster, and that's been a while. So hopping back into it, things are slowed down quite a bit. I mean, it's still that fast paced, quick cornering, all that good stuff. But it is a lot of fun. I mean, it's the very fast-paced adrenaline rush gameplay that you expect from Call of Duty.
Yeah.
The guns are balanced. They're all equal, fair, all that good stuff.
There's no one standout so far that you've been getting killed by a lot.
No.
There's no like grenade launchers or noob tubes.
No, I mean the closest you get to the noob tube is the bazooka that the expeditionary armor class can carry.
Oh, okay.
But like I said, it's almost hilarious if someone doesn't kill you with that thing, and they kind of dumb down the
reload speed.
The reload speed and the explosion itself is not as damaging as it could be. To be fair, so they did a good job with that. But no, I mean it's standard Call of Duty. It's run and gun, and it is quite a bit of fun.
So
the maps are well built.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Run and gun has always been kind of how I've played Call of Duty, because that's what's most effective. There's guys that can quick scope out there. I was kind of on the verge of being able to do that in Black Ops 1 or 2. I forget when it was, but it never felt as effective as just running and gunning. You find like a really strong submachine gun and like just put on a UAV jammer or stealth class and just sneak around and kill everyone.
Well, with hardcore, and that's why I enjoy playing it, is because you have to be skilled with the weapon you're using. I mean, granted, you could spray somebody with a machine gun, but if you don't kill them, you're going to run out of ammo fast. And if they've got the Garand on the other end, they can one-shot you from a pretty good distance, but they've got to make that shot.
Make it hit.
So that's what makes that nice balance out. You don't have all these crazy-ass weapons.
I hate comparing this to Destiny. Have you tried playing the Trials of the Nine yet?
No.
So that's kind of their hardcore mode.
Okay.
But not as hardcore as Call of Duty, because Call of Duty usually was like 1 or 2 shots and you'd die. But I always loved it, because the only time I played I think hardcore mode was really in World at War, the last like World War II game we actually had, where basically
that's all I would play in Modern Warfare.
I used the M1 carbine basically and would just sit up top and had a little red dots or whatever, like what the equivalent of a red dot scope on top of that M1. I would just I loved it.
No, I mean that's between Modern Warfare 2 was like the last Call of Duty. Well, I guess Black Ops was really the last Call of Duty game I was seriously into. But that's all I would play as hardcore, because I just hate how long it takes to kill people regularly. And if you get to a certain skill point, you can be pretty deadly on the battlefield if you're fast enough. And that's what makes it fun. That's, to me, the fact that you can die so much easier is what is more of an adrenaline rush.
Yeah, because you're chasing after somebody and you actually kill them. Yeah, I'm surprised like Destiny 2's multiplayer because it takes a long time to kill people in that game.
It does. It does. It's a painful amount unless you've got that stupid sword.
Or if you've just locked down headshots.
I'll go ahead and answer your next question. Is it good to be back in World War II? Definitely.
Yeah.
I know that's kind of a play off of what we were just talking about, but taking all that madness out of there and just kind of going back to the roots of a good, solid on-ground shooter, like you were saying, has been very refreshing.
Because that's where it's got its start. I mean, like that's where Call of Duty got its start. It was traditional warfare, you know.
I don't know if it's going to save them though.
Yeah.
I mean, I just, it's good, but you know, I feel like every year they're trying to bring back something that they're slowly losing, and that's that, you know, whenever it first came out, it was like, wow, this is great. Second game came out, wow, this is great. You know, they're really like doing something good here.
Mm-hmm.
Got a great play style, but how many times can you switch up the game?
Yeah.
How many ways can you mask over something that's at the baseline essential? And like you said, they have mastered that. There's no questioning that.
Yeah.
I think that Call of Duty will carry on as an esport, as an esport staple, I should say.
Let me pitch this to you because I just thought about this when you were talking about it. I would love to see Call of Duty become more of a hub service. Like you have the same physics and like the whole system that runs Call of Duty, but you have different eras that you could play in. Like if you like futuristic, go for it. If you like World War II, go for it. But like you have one base game, and it's kind of like a games of a service thing. It's like, okay, you can download the war DLC pack and just play the war stuff. Obviously, you would segment your audience and have a whole confusing thing going on there. But like you said, I mean, we do have to realize that we are not young anymore. Like we're not of the age to where we can really keep up with this stuff as much anymore. So what might have been awesome to us when we were a lot younger in high school and in college probably just doesn't hit us as much anymore. Right. You know, like what they put out just now, kids probably love. Kids are probably just like eating this crap up, and they're like, "This is amazing. This is so fun and easy."
Because they didn't get to experience Modern Warfare and World at War.
You guys suck. Like, and we sound like old people saying like, "Oh man, you don't remember like the Modern Warfare, the original one, or Call of Duty 3." You know, it's like. I really do think that like simple is better in certain circumstances, but that could be because that's what we just grew up on.
Yeah.
And everything's gotten a bit more complicated, a bit more complex, and more advanced and faster and crazier. And so every time I try a new game, a new Call of Duty, I always get on and I'm just like, okay, like so far the campaign's pretty basic. It makes sense. And then as soon as I get into multiplayer, I'm like, what is going on? I was like, what just killed me? Like, what what was that?
Right. Yeah. So that's refreshing too, is kind of knowing what you're up against, your opposition, and you've got a familiar. I mean, anyone that's been playing games in the past 20 years knows what a freaking M1 Garand is, and
you can hear it. You're like, I got
an MP44 and the Russian submachine gun that I can't remember the name of. So you kind of know what you're getting into, and that's refreshing as well. As far as the hub system goes, I think that's a good idea, because then they could take those base level games and refine them to each player's style. Mm-hmm. And instead of putting out a different game every year, why don't they just put all three studios together and say, make something good? Yeah. If they could they could really narrow or hammer down a great game, because they've
just make a game for everyone. Take off 4 or 5 years and make a game for everyone.
Right. They've got the ability to. They've got so much talent between the three of them.
And what if they don't make a Call of Duty game? Like what if they say, hey, you know what?
We're gonna take a break.
Let's take a break. You guys go do something else that you want to do. Like do whatever you want to do.
They've got to have some ideas. You know that all these years making Call of Duty games, they've been like, man, it'd be so cool if we made like an open world shooter or something like that.
Something
I know
with these mechanics.
It's a little bit far off, but you know, they do. They've got the talent. They've got such a good baseline gameplay that they could pretty much do anything with it, and they wouldn't have to worry about graphics, or
I know
they might have to worry about AI a little bit, because my God, the AI was just so bad. I'm sure they'll refine it. I haven't really had any issues with the servers. I just saw that.
Yeah, there was just reports of like, you know, this always happens with any new Call of Duty game. Everyone's on all at once, and so it just gets crazy. And then usually after 3 or 4 weeks, it's pretty normal.
Yeah,
it dies
I
out.
haven't had anything bad. It's been okay.
Well, we have really good service here too.
Yeah, we do have EPD. So
everyone else has like 7 megabytes per second.
Freaking Xfinity.
Yeah,
you're getting bent over the table if you have Xfinity. I just want you to know.
Just drop them as fast as you can. Find a fiber optics network. So yeah, I mean, I love talking about Call of Duty because the Call of Duty is the game that you always hear people talking about that don't even know video games. You know, mom and dads and news outlets are like, "Oh, the newest Call of Duty game has you killing people in an airport. What are we teaching our kids these days?" You know,
great level of Call of Duty, by the way. I mean,
it really is
ingenious.
And so, you know, I'm glad it's back. I'm glad that they've done World War II. You know, we talked about this in the last show when you were on here. Like, I like that it's going this direction. It's the first Call of Duty where it's piqued my interest. And I've looked at the trailer or I've just seen some gameplay and I'm like, that actually looks like something that I remember playing and that I would actually enjoy going back to.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, you know, some of the previous iterations, I've just been like, I can already tell I'm not going to like that.
Yeah. Yep.
So, all in all, I mean, you said you're not sure about this still yet. You know, what would your recommendation be?
It's a great start off. If you're wanting to get back into Call of Duty, if you need something competitive and Destiny is not your game, go for Call of Duty. I mean, you'll definitely enjoy it. I think the more I play and the more I get into it, the more I'll enjoy it. But it's a learning curve a little bit because I've been out of the game so long. But the more I played it, the more I liked it. Like, you know, as with any game, your first match, you're kind of unsure of yourself, and you're like, I don't know about this.
You got to learn all the maps.
And,
you got to learn which guns are the best guns. Yep. And usually the best way to learn is just to be killed over and over again by the same exact gun. Like, okay, apparently that's the gun to use right now because I'm getting wrecked by it.
Right. I think IGN's score of an 8.1 was good. I would give it an 8 out of 10. For rating it on the 10 scale. But yeah, no, it's very good. I'm sorry.
I mean, I think
it's
an
a
8.
Good game.
I think an 8 on their scale is great.
Yeah.
So I mean, they've scored. Like Call of Duty's always scored that. Call of Duty's always hit that 8 or like 9-ish area.
Right. Because they're not losing that base level game of that. It's great and
it's always competent.
Good
it's always fast. It's responsive and it's fun.
Right.
But it's not ever pushing the envelope, or it's always kind of more of the same. It's always just like, yep, this is Call of Duty, you know. And they have zombies back. Have you tried the zombies mode yet?
I've not tried the zombies. I haven't got a chance to play with. I'm the only person besides one other person that has it, and so I haven't got a chance to play the zombies mode yet. I mean, I want to try it because I did enjoy it on World at War.
Yeah,
I mean, that was a lot of fun.
But was World at War the first one that had it?
Yes.
Yeah. I enjoyed it on that game as well, but every iteration that came after that, you know, with like the new DLC and add-ons,
a little bit of ridiculousness.
And it just got crazy. I was like, what is going on? Like Jeff Goldblum was like voicing one of the characters in this last one, and you could turn into like a Demogorgon or like some sort of like squid monster. And I was like, I don't even know what's going on in this game anymore. And that's, again, I sound like an old person when I say that because I am an old person, I guess, by today's standards. So I would like to hear more about just the zombie stuff. See what you think about it. But all in all, man, Call of Duty's back, and I think your recommendation is perfect. Like, hey, if Destiny 2 is not a shooter that you're really enjoying, you don't like the mechanics of it, try Call of Duty. And honestly, you know, we have Doom, we have Wolfenstein 2, and we have Battlefront 2 coming out soon. So you'll have good options of shooters here pretty soon. And this time of year is when a lot of them come out because it's cold. What are you gonna do?
No, it's because it's Christmas.
Yeah,
and
Christmas.
This is the time to get all those little buggers.
Black
or
Friday,
gifts.
little buggers, huh?
Yeah.
So, anything else really to report on for Call of Duty?
No. We'll see how it goes. I'm sure next podcast I'll have an update. So.
You'll have sold it by then, and you've got something else.
Maybe so. I mean, the next game on my list that I can think of would be Far Cry. And so until then.
Oh, totally. This is big news, actually. I just completely forgot about this. Not on here. GameStop. You just remind me of this. GameStop just announced a rental program. Did you see that?
No.
So you were able to rent games from any used game from GameStop, which I think is a brilliant move.
Right, because you have a 10-day return policy no matter what. So
might as well now. I mean, so hey, you can rent this game for as long as you want. If you get done with it, bring it back. They make money on games that they probably wouldn't have sold that many in the first place, and they have a returning stock of games. And oh man, I heard that and I was like, Good on you,
That was
GameStop.
that was a smart move for a company that's been getting shit on
Yeah,
a lot these past few years.
they've been
That was a smart
been
move.
slowly just dying, and I think this is good because really the only other people out there that are competing are GameFly.
Yeah, or Redbox.
Yeah,
But Redbox is
Redbox is not great. GameFly has been pretty good for a lot of people, but this is just another option. Everyone knows GameStop or EB Games or any of these big outlets, and it's just like, okay, cool. Like I'm gonna come in here, and there's no such thing as demos anymore. You know,
Right.
a lot of games don't provide demos that you can just try.
Right.
So what
Closest
better?
you're gonna get is a beta.
It's perfect. I mean,
Yeah.
like I'm gonna try this game out. I'll play it for a little bit, and if like I really like it, then I'll just end up buying it. But if I don't like it, then I'll just return it, and I'm done with it.
Yeah.
And you save money. So again, we were talking earlier about like how this $80 price point might be where we need to go, but renting could also be a great way to go.
A viable option. Yeah.
You don't always
absolutely.
have the game. I mean, like with Spotify, I use Spotify on my phone. It's like I don't own any of this music. I'm essentially just renting the service right now so that
Pretty much.
I can listen to these songs, and then if I ever get sick of it, I can just stop paying for it.
Right. Yeah.
So pretty cool. Sorry,
Yeah.
that was actually
that
a
was
big
good
story.
point. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that.
Because I just was thinking about you talking about trying probably having something else different next
Right.
week, and I was like, oh wait, GameStop did that.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of BitCast. Remember, BitCast is a weekly podcast that covers most things video games and pop culture. Cameron, thank you again so much for being on the show, sir.
Not a problem, man. I enjoyed it as always.
It's been a great Monday. I'll probably have this up maybe on Tuesday, probably Wednesday, but we'll see.
Wednesday.
So if you
yeah,
listen
now
to
that
this-
you're employed, you have something to do.
yeah, I got more obligations. Dumb. So be sure to check out BitBloggist.com for all of our content. I post the audio and the video versions of this podcast all at once under the same link. Go to check us out on Twitter, Instagram. There I post stuff about just, video games from time to time. And then Twitter, honestly, I don't really use, so you'd be better off just checking our Facebook out. And then be sure to send emails or topic suggestions to bitcast@bitbloggist.com. I would love if somebody did that just because, I just want to just encourage you guys to be a part of the show. I have a group on our Facebook channel now to where you can be a part of. I'll send out questions there or just, general topics we can talk about.
You should poll
and
topics.
you guys can chime in. Yeah. I
That'd
mean,
be a
just
good idea.
all kinds of stuff. There's endless possibilities. But until next time, this has been BitCast. Thanks for tuning in. Talk about some stuff.